Hey, what's up guys, Soaps here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at Star Wars. This isn't really an episode 2, it's going to be more of like a definitive edition where I basically just go over every single card that I've made. And there's a lot of new cards. I don't think I showed all the cards that I had made at the time that I made the last video, so there's still a lot to go over. A lot of new cards to go over. And yeah, so ironically, when I made the video of the channel update, and it was coming right off of Danny Week, and I had thought of the idea of bringing back Star Wars when it was during Danny Week. So I was working on the cards, and then I just kind of just derped out and just didn't feel like doing it anymore. And then so I just stopped making the cards. So I haven't made any since then. So yeah, so this is kind of like a Star Wars is back, but then I haven't really been into it lately, which is weird because I'm making the video now, but maybe making this video will get me back into it. So yeah, this is an update. And again, this isn't really going to be a repetitive series on the channel because I get into it in jumps and bursts. So, yeah, we have Mannequin Man. He looks beautiful today. He's dressed up. I think we can just leave him there with beautiful Jack Porkins, who can hold it. And we're just going to go through all the cards. So starting up first, we're going to go through the units for the Rebels. And so up first, we have Echo Base Trooper. And I have a lot of stuff on my desk right now that's going to get in the way of filming, which is really great. And he gains +2 ability if on Hoth. Kind of a lame ability, but it'll be fun if you're running a Hoth deck. Next up, we got the man, the legend himself, who can hold it. We're not going to go into him, because there's quite a lot of cards, and oh, wow. There's quite a lot of cards, and I don't really want to go over every single one's ability, because you can kind of get it. Also, I explained the rules quite well in the original video, so this is just going to be a, hey, look at all the cool cards I made, and maybe talk about some updates to the gameplay. So then we have Honor Guard, gains +1 power at a location you control. And here's one of the new cards, Han Solo. And you're like, so apps, why is it so gray? It's because I printed this on my dad's printer. And I also scanned it on my dad's printer, so it looks is a different grayscale, I guess. So he has a DL-44 weapon, which we'll get into weapons later. I'll start showing them later, but he has a whip. He has a weapon that's permanently attached to him. So hit if ability is greater than, less than 5. So yeah, he's also a pilot. Next up, we got Rebel Pilot. He's just your standard pilot. And then I'm introducing a new type of pilot, Starfighter system. And we'll get into this more when we get into Starfighters. I'm actually just going to try and grab one right now. So for example, we have a TIE bomber, and it is a bomber class starfighter. And once I make a bomber pilot, it'll say specifically in the name. And it gives a boost to the class of ship that corresponds to its name. So this would give +1 power when piloting an interceptor starship. So if you have a bomber pilot and you put in the TIE bomber, it's going to be better. So there's the new type of pilot system. Okay, next up we got Imperial units. We got Imperial Pilot. I really like how this card came out. Imperial Officer. All Imperial units gain +1 power at his sector, except Imperial Officer. Death Star Trooper. Stormtrooper. What? I think he came out pretty good. And then the meme itself, the mess up Stormtrooper. He's kind of anorexic, but that's okay. Grand Moff Tarkin. My dad made this card. Shout out to my dad. I think he came out pretty cool. All Imperial units and vehicles / starships gain +1 power at his sector, except Grand Moff Tarkin. So he's the best Imperial unit in the game as of now. So that's all of the units. Now for Empire and Rebels, and then I have Jawa, who's not really either. Gains +1 power if alone or with another or with other. It, yeah, you can read it. I obviously can't. Okay, now we're going into main bases. We got Cloud City. All starships/vehicles have +1 maneuver and power. Yavin 4. All Rebel Starfighters cost -2 credits. I love this man here. Hoth Echo Base. All Snow Speeders and AT-ATs are at -2 cost. And then we have locations, which I have quite a bit more of. We got Ewok Village. Vehicles have -2 power and units have +1. Death Star Docking Bay. Starships leaving this outpost have +1 maneuver and can hold +1 unit. I like how this one came out. It wasn't too detailed, and I wasn't really too good at drawing perspective, but it still looks kind of cool with the little tiny people and starfighters. Then we got Hoth Trenches. Vehicles are -1 power here. Infantry units are +1 power. The Caverns of Tatooine. Starfighters and vehicles are -1 maneuver. Starships are +1 power. Owen Lars Hut. Tusken Raiders, Sand Troopers, and Jawas are +2 power. So I want to try and stray away from having locations like this. It seems almost pointless, because what if you have this and your opponent, or you don't have any of the Tusken Raiders, Sand Troopers, or Jawas, and it's just like, what's the chances that you're going to get a Tusken Raider, Sand Trooper, or Jawa to this location to fight over it? So I'm going to try and not do any more of locations like this ability. Like this location. Yikes. Yoda's House. All units have +2 ability. Oh, and I may as well talk about this now. So, because you watched the first video and you're really smart, you'll know how moving works. And we've decided that you get the ability from the location. If you control the location and you keep the ability from when you are moving from one location to another. Okay, I'm definitely going to need to explain this better. Okay, so let's say you control Yoda's house, you just took it over, and you want to go attack your opponent's Hoth Echo base, so you move your Jawa to go attack it. So your Jawa is currently at your Yoda's house, and it gains +2 ability. So now, from the entire time that it takes it to move from Yoda's house to Hoth Echo base, it's going to have +2 ability, and for the time that it's at Hoth Echo base, it's going to have +2 ability. If it tries to move back or do any other location, it'll lose the buff. So the second that it enters Yoda's house and you control it, it gains +2 ability, and it has it until it leaves the next location it goes to. So that's how locations buffs are going to work. Next up, we have equipment cards. We have utility belt equipped onto a unit. Unit's forfeit is +2. That comes into how battling works. Jawa ion gun. It costs 1 credit. Selected target is sent back to hand if defending ability is less than 6. Heavy blaster cannon. Costs 1 credit. Equipped onto a vehicle or starship. Once every 2 turns, destroy 1 turret or power less than 4 unit. DH-17. Equipped onto a unit. Hit if defending ability is less than 4. Proton torpedo. Equipped onto any starship. Hit if defending maneuver is less than 3 or ability is less than 5. Another thing that I want to talk about, I guess we can pull out a starship or vehicle, is that maneuver no longer has to do with how fast a vehicle or starship can move. Now it's just purely coming into dodging weapons and dodging weapons. It'll make it less easy to be hit by proton torpedoes and DH-17s and heavy blaster cannons and stuff like that. So, and then the rules are going to stand that infantry can move 1 parsec per turn. Vehicles can move 2 parsecs per turn, so which means that it's going to take 3 turns to go in between locations, because remember, there's 5 parsecs in between locations. And if you exceed 5, it doesn't make you keep going. You just stop at the next location. And then Starfighters have 3, so they can move in 2 turns. And capital ships, which I haven't made, are going to be able to move in 1 turn, which are really expensive. So the rules will apply. It's this game's kind of butchered a little bit, because when I do make changes like that, I can't write on every single card. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't really look nice and wouldn't really work to write what type of classification is, whether it's a vehicle or it's a starfighter, or blah, 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 blah. So the rules are there, but because I don't plan on ever selling this game or doing anything more than just giving it to my friends and playing, we'll just have to kind of just tell each other how to play and what the special rules are, because it's hard to write all this down, especially when you make a bunch of cards before doing the rules. So fusion supply tanks equipped onto a vehicle or starship adds +1 power and maneuver. So this would originally make the starship be able to move faster, and now it just helps it evade. Then we have turrets, which is ion cannon. Turrets you place at a location that you control for the credit cost, and it kills if power is less than defending power. So if it has a defending power less than 5, it can be killed 2 parsecs or less away. Landmine has a range of 0, power 10, -2 power if power is less than defense power. So if it has a power less than 10, it will get -2 power when this goes off. And I probably should have said that this can only go off once. Well, see, there's an example of the pretend rules that we'll have to figure out later when we're actually battling. Snow Speeder, 6 credits, gains +2 power when battling in AT-AT. I know how to spell battling, trust me. See, it was hard to find an ability for this card, because it was like, should we make it just really good against AT-ATs or all ground vehicles that have like a low enough maneuver? But we decided that it will just make it a decent vehicle, because it can't fly in space, so it's a vehicle still. That's another kerfuffle. But because it's the only vehicle for Rebel right now, it'll be a pretty good card, even if it's not attacking AT-ATs. So it's actually not the only vehicle. We'll get into that in a second. It's the most expensive, strongest vehicle. We'll say that. And I do like how this came out as well, with my 10 out of 10 shading markers. Next up, we got refurbished AT-RT. You might remember this from the Clone Wars series. I like that a lot. So this is a nice, cheap vehicle. And these all need pilots. And we'll get into one vehicle that doesn't need a pilot, which I'm sure will change the game a lot. Next up, we got AT-ST. AT-AT. Once every 2 turns, destroy 1 turret. Turret or power. Okay. Destroy 1 turret. Power. Okay, I see it now. It's just, I'm blind. Once every 2 turns, destroy 1 turret or power less than 4 unit. So we got AT-DP, one of my favorite vehicles in the whole Star Wars universe. And I did some shading on this as well. Gains +1 power when with at least 2 Imperial units. So it's like a step down from an AT-ST, but it gets a different buff. So there you go. And it's nice to have multiple tiers of vehicles in this game for different credit costs, so that you can fit them into different decks and different purposes. Next up, we got Speeder Bike, which doesn't require a pilot to use. So you can throw anybody in here and help move troops faster. And most of the... I guess that's not true. I was about to say that most of the units have higher than 3 power, but it could help boost power as well. So we got TIE Bomber. We're going into Starfighters now. Starting off with the Empire, I think. Yes. So TIE Bomber. When arriving at a location, destroy 1 turret or vehicle less than 5 power. So that could take out your speeder bike or anything like that. And I think this really keys into the bomber play style. It makes sense for a bomber. So we got TIE Fighter. Gains +1 power when with 2 other TIE Fighters, because Empire likes to use those swarm strategies. TIE Interceptor with these completely straight lines, as you can see. If its pilot has greater than 5 ability, the starship gains +1 power. A-Wing, I like how this one came out as well. Gains +1 maneuver and power when carrying a pilot with ability greater than 4. And that's an interceptor class. See, I didn't really write interceptor class because it says interceptor in the name, and I didn't really have room. So more pretend rules. So we got X-Wing, another card that I printed out on my dad's printer, so it looks a little bit mellowed out, but it came out pretty nice. And I like the Death Star in the background. And this is like the TIE fighter for the Rebels. It's the default Starfighter. And then we have a random card, which I don't think this is even canon, but that's okay. I can make up my own stuff because it's my card game. It might be. I don't really know where I pulled this out of. But I just made this one day before I stopped making the first wave of Star Wars cards. So, yeah, I don't know where this came from. This is like a step up from the X-Wing. Yeah, I don't even know if this will consider this a card because it's really good compared to the X-Wing. You guys can tell that this is definitely a work in progress. And now, finally, we have these cards, which I made, again, and I don't know if I actually want to keep them in the game, because I don't think it's something that you really need. They're supposed to be like spell cards or page cards from the new Sketchbook Chronicles, where you can play them. They're called events. You can play them at any time on your turn, and they just do stuff. And I don't think, especially the 2 that I made, are really necessary. So it's pay 2 credits, and gain 4 at the end of your turn. Pointless. Why? You should just make, if you think that your game's slow enough to need like cost boosting, just make it so that you get more costs per turn. So that's pointless. And then, because I think the flow of credits so you have is completely fine, and the phone is ringing. And then also we have aerial bombardment, which is kill a unit that is 4 or less parsecs away from a location you control. If a unit, kill if ability is less than 5. If vehicle/starfighter, kill if power is less than 10. So again, I don't think you really need this because you should just use your turrets and you should use your bombers to do this. And it kind of just defeats the purpose because like you're just pulling stuff out of nowhere. The whole point of the game is to have strategy. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this Star Wars video. I know I had fun making the cards until now, but yeah, I'll see you in the next video.